Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for dropping by the channel. So tonight we get to take a look at the latest release from NODUS, and this is the Duality. But before I get into the review, I just want to give a big shout out and thanks to my friend and local subscriber, Hacking Seconds, for lending this watch in. And I'll actually throw a link to Hacking Seconds' Instagram in the description below. So please check that out. And again, big thanks for letting me borrow this watch for the review. So NODUS designed this watch, I think, to evoke the vintage compressor style dive watches of the 60s and 70s. And the reason they call it the Duality is in part because of a dual crown system here, but also because they released two different colorways. So you can get this white version here, or you can order a black version. And there are two bezel options as well. So you can see this inner rotating bezel here has the 12-hour timer, but you can also order it with a 60-minute elapsed time bezel like you would find on more standard dive watches. So right off the hop, guys, I gotta say this is a super clean watch. I'm very impressed with the level of finishing as well as the dimensions of this particular timepiece. So let's get those specs out of the way first. You're looking at a 40mm case. Flipping this watch to the side, I measure from lug to lug here of 47.5mm. Case thickness is 13.3mm to a slightly domed sapphire crystal, and you can see that sapphire crystal has a nice anti-reflective application on the underside. And then the lug opening here for this beautiful H-link bracelet is 20mm. So again, very nice dimensions for this watch, and I think it'll suit a large different number of wrist sizes. So NODUS does what they call a hybrid dial, which is to say that there is a sandwich dial component here. You can see those indices are cut out, but then bordering those indices, you can see that they actually apply a really nice silver border or black border that just aid in the legibility of the watch. And I think they really knocked it out of the park to make this watch symmetrical and very legible. And I'm a fan of having that date aperture at the 6 o'clock position, and it's nicely framed as well. And I also think those sword style hands are very clean, and they are bordered and they match the same colorway, the same tones as the black and white you find on the rest of the dial. And then you also have that inner rotating bezel here. So with compressor style watches, you do typically have two crowns, and they're actually designed to become more water and pressure resistant the deeper the depth you dive. So this is a 300-meter diver, but there's some engineering in play around the crown and case back that will make this watch more watertight as you deep diver underwater. So to operate the inner rotating bezel here, you have to unscrew the crown at the 2 o'clock position here. Once that's achieved, you can see it's a very smooth bi-directional application here. So you can get this to line up wherever you want. You can use it to track a second time zone. There's nice gnarling on the crown, and not a lot of resistance either. Now I should mention that both crowns are signed differently. So the one for the bezel here has the Duality logo, and the one on the side near the 4 o'clock here has the NODUS logo. Now both are really well gnarled. They have like a PVD ring around it here, and those logos there are actually loomed as well, which is a really nice touch that not a lot of brands do. The only other micro brand I'm aware of in this price category that does it is NTH, and I really want to check out one of their watches in the future as well. Now you can unscrew the 4 o'clock crown here, and this will allow you to manually wind the movement in the first position here. And the movement utilized is a Miyota 9015, which does have a high beat rate, so you got that 4 Hz sweep on the second hand there. You got about a 42-hour power reserve. You can also hack this movement. If I pull it all the way out, you can see I stopped the second hand. And notice themselves too, while I don't have the paperwork, they do tend to regulate these movements in multiple positions, which is a really nice touch as well. Now if you pop it into the intermediate position there, that's just your quick date changeover there. And then rethreading this crown, is very easy to do. And again, I really enjoy the amount of grip on those crowns. Very easy to operate. Okay, I think I'll just throw up a loom shot now too, just so you can see those two crowns there that are loomed, as well as the sandwich dial, and the entire inner bezel is also loomed as well. So I really appreciate the how evenly NODUS applied the luminescence. So you got BGW9, which is blue for the handset and indices, and also for most of the bezel markers there. But you can actually see that the triangle at the 12, as well as the crown logos, actually have some sort of Swiss superluminova that looms green. So really nice bi-loom application, and you don't see that at with too many micro brands for this price. So speaking of price, this watch is currently going for $700 US. My friend Hacking Seconds picked this up at the early bird price, which I don't know exactly how much you paid for it, but I could also tell you right now, for $700 US, I think you're getting a pretty decent watch. I know there's a lot of competition for micro brands in that price point, but to me, the proportions, the attention to detail, and the case finishing are top notch on this timepiece. So let me move around the watch and I'll show you a little bit more about the finishing. You can see how crisp the lines are here. You got really nice brushing along the flanks of the lugs, and then gorgeous polished bevels along the tops. And on top of that, you get really nice high polish on the outside bezel here. And again, the case shape I think is very nice. You can see how well those lugs just turn down. You have drilled lug holes for easily swapping out the bracelet, which I really appreciate. And then I do have to talk about this bracelet, which is done to a very high level. So very nice brushing or satinized tops here. But then you can even see that each individual link has a really nice bevel along the side too, before flipping it to the side. The links here are fixed in with screw pins, which make it really easy to size. And then you have multiple levels of micro adjustment along the clasp. Looking at the base of a clasp, you do have, again, really nice polished bevel on the side, nice brushing on the tops with a NODUS printed logo, and then you have dual trigger deployment to a nicely milled out swing arm section here. And then you have the case back here. Now note that these are solid end links for this bracelet, but the case back has a really nicely etched in duality symbol. In addition to that, you just have some basic information about the watch as well. You can see, of course, the case back is screwed down to aid in that 300-meter water resistance rating. Unfortunately, the bracelet isn't sized to fit over my really thick knuckles here, so I can't really give you guys a wrist shot, but I can say anecdotally from other people who've worn the watch that they find it very comfortable. And again, these lugs just turn down and hug your wrist very well. And then with the H-Link bracelet too, you just get really nice drape over the rest of your wrist there. So are there any negative aspects to this watch? I can really only think of a few minor gripes, to be honest. I will mention, as much as I appreciate the level of finishing and how crisp these lines are, if you were to fold over the bracelet a bit, you can see how the lugs do poke out just a little bit, and they're a little bit sharp. So I wish maybe that they just integrated the end link to the head of the watch just a little bit better, but that's a very, very minor gripe. The other minor gripe I have is with this inner rotating bezel. It's a little too easy to operate, and you really have to slow things down just to give the exact orientation that you want. And you can see the disc, to me, just doesn't feel as solid as it potentially could. But those are about the only negative gripes I have about this watch. Again, I've never owned a NODUS myself, but my first impressions and review of this watch really are positive, I would say. I think for $700 US, You're getting a really comprehensive package. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. I love to read your feedback, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video.